So, you want a different kind of necromantic flavor instead of the usual cleric or wizard? I may have a solution for you, and let's say it's gonna require a patron to get involved. Stay tuned.
Dun 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 dun. B-sides!
Hello, and welcome to Pathfinder B-Sides, where I find a weird thing to talk about, and I talk about it giving my own personal point of view, as well as possible applications. Today's topic has been requested by Black-Hearted Shaman Jr., so, thanks, bud. Today, we're going to be talking about the Gravewalker archetype for the Witch class. I personally feel like there's plenty of flavor for this bad boy. You can control like a wizard with the Witch's spell list, while also taking sweet things like Brew Potion or Scribe Scroll to up you on your versatility. But let's actually talk about the Gravewalker. Let's dive into the flavor text, brought to you by the D20 PFSRD. Having much in common with necromancers, the Gravewalker is obsessed with the occult manipulations of the dead, particularly mindless undead such as zombies. Unlike the creations of standard necromancers, a Gravewalker's creations remain forever tied to her will, and she can produce vile apparitions of tremendous power. Seems cool, and honestly, very much in line with the theme we want to convey with this character. So, if you don't know, witches generally have a patron of some kind, and with this archetype, the spells you normally get are replaced with these mamma jams. Spells. A Gravewalker replaces some of her patron spells with the following. At 4th level, you get Command Undead. At 6th level, you get Animate Dead. At 12th level, Create Undead. I'm starting to sense a pattern here. At 14th level, you get Control Undead, and at 16th level, you get Create Greater Undead. These replace the patron spells. Getting into it a little bit more specifically, Command Undead is nice. It's like the dominate person of undead spells. It lasts a good while, and if you come across unintelligent undead, they just listen to you. Intelligent undead, I'm looking at you, Dracula, will treat your words and actions favorably. It's a good first step to domination of all undead you find. Animate Dead lets you make zombies and skeletons, although only up to a certain number, twice your caster level. Not really good limitations, not good at all. Create Undead comes a little bit late to the game, but it lets you make some of the cooler undead, like the wights and Draugr and mummies. So hey, it might be time to find a pyramid and take it over, right? Control Undead may be alright, although I feel like it's just a weaker version of Command Undead, considering the length of time it can be active. And also, since Heightened Spell is one of the greatest meta magics I've ever seen, the only true upside to Control Undead is that it works on multiple undead at the same time, as long as they're kind of bunched together. So treat it like it's a fireball, but it's to control undead. You know what I mean. And then we've got Create Greater Undead, that gives you access to some of the coolest undead that exist, like the Banshee and the Devourer. Great for in-game content, and for setting yourself up as the uber badass villain of the next campaign. Definitely talk with your GM about the possibility of your badass witch being dropped and just dropping undead bombs all across the lands of this fantasy setting. Hell, you may want to try to run the next campaign and use your witch as one of the big bads. I don't know. I only want for you guys to enjoy the spell list. It's a good spell list. Just try to grab a patron that makes sense along with your undead shenanigans, and it should all work out fine. Alright guys, thanks. Wait, don't leave. There's more. That was just the spell list. Now, we've got the spell Poppet. Each Gravewalker carries around a grisly, inanimate Poppet stitched from human skin and stuffed with shards of bone, fingernails, and grave dirt. Ugh. A Gravewalker's spells come from the will of evil spirits residing in the Poppet, and its ability to hold spells functions in a manner identical to the way a witch's spells are granted by her familiar. The Gravewalker must commune with her Poppet each day to prepare her spells and cannot prepare spells that are not stored in the Poppet. This ability replaces familiar. So replacing the witch's familiar is bold, but in this instance it works. This archetype seems to make the best of it by giving your Poppet more use than a normal familiar, making it important to your character or the villain to keep up with it. Maybe your witch isn't the usual witch and instead is a socialite, and she likes to keep her Poppet in her purse as she wanders the city. Make it known that the witch has an odd scent about her, but you can't quite put your finger on what the smell is. It's what I would do anyways. Onward to the altered abilities of your Poppet. The following familiar abilities work differently for a Gravewalker. Deliver touch spells is a supernatural ability. At 3rd level or higher, a Gravewalker can use her Poppet to deliver touch spells. After casting a touch spell as a full round action, the witch can designate a target and stab a pin into her Poppet, delivering the spell as a ranged touch attack. The spell must be within range of her Aura of Desecration ability. Okay guys, so after a lot of research, because apparently this is a very confusing way to word how this action goes, I found the information for you. Alright guys? After much research, the way I've determined is, first, you cast the spell. The touch spell, right? So let's say for, giggles, it's Shocking Grasp, alright? You cast it as a standard action. And, it's going to become a ranged touch being delivered as a full round action. So basically, you cast Shocking Grasp. You have the Poppet in your hand. You stab a needle into it and point at the person. And then at the start of the next round, that spell goes off on that person, and you can still do all the rest of the stuff you want to do. It's weird. You can still cast and move normally this round, and next round the spell just goes off at the start of the upcoming turn. The wording is so unconventional, it is still throwing me off. As far as what's the range of touch, that's something we're going to be talking about next. So onward to the Aura of Desecration, which, hey, supernatural ability! At 1st level, a Gravewalker can create a 20-foot radius aura of evil power. This aura increases the DC of channel negative energy by +1 and the turn resistance of undead by +1. At 3rd level and every 2 levels thereafter, the radius of the aura increases by 5 feet to a maximum of 70 feet at 20th level. This ability replaces the witch's 1st level hex. That's right, you're starting with a 20-foot radius, which doesn't seem like much. I mean, you could run to where the spell needs to land and touch the enemy, sure. By the end, you'll have a reach of 70 feet though, so you will be able to keep your distance much better by then. To be fair, still not very impressive by any means, but for you villains out there, just make sure your rooms aren't bigger than your radius. Keep your undead within the reach and have fun. Fun spells to use are going to be your inflict wounds spells, because you'll be doing it at range and can heal your undead or harm your enemies or heroes. So, this seems like a bonus. Next, we've got Bone Thrall, which is another supernatural ability. At 1st level, a Gravewalker can take control of an undead creature within her Aura of Desecration by forcing her will upon it. Will negates using her Hex DC. If it fails to save, the creature falls under her control as if she had used Command Undead. Once control is established, the undead remain controlled even if outside the witch's aura. Intelligent undead receive a new saving throw each day to resist her command. The witch can control up to 1 hit die of undead creatures per caster level. If an undead creature is under the control of another creature, the witch must make an opposed charisma check whenever her orders conflict with that creature's. This replaces the witch's hex, gained at 4th level. Oh, this one's pretty cool looking. Take control of the opposing undead. If you have a nice GM, they'll throw you the odd undead that you ask for kindly, of course. So you can make use of this ability. Otherwise, it's not going to be utilized that often. If you're playing a campaign that has no focus on dead, and please speak with your GM about it before making this character, then at least be mindful that you'll have a dud ability. If you're in a campaign that has plenty of undead, bump that charisma up. You'll be dueling other necromancers for their undead. Maybe play it up. Try to convince each undead to your side before rolling. I mean, it is a charisma check, right? Yes, little undead buddy, I'm talking to you. Come over here, I've got blood and brains and guts and viscera for you. Next up, we've got Possess Undead, which is a spell-like ability. Ooh. A Gravewalker may take direct control of one of her undead minions within her aura of Desecration, as if using Magic Jar. The Witch's Poppet acts as the sole receptacle for this ability. The minion gets no saving throw against this ability. This replaces the Witch's Hex, gained at 8th level. Alright, here it is, guys, the long and short of it. You leave your body and possess one of your undead. If you're going to be possessing one of your own undead, make sure you have something to do with your body. Magic Jar lasts for 1 hour per level, or until you want to return to your body. No extra attacks or anything, so, getting a skeleton with 4 arms isn't going to help you out much. But I'm sure you can find something to do with your undead. On the other hand, it would be a nice distraction for your players, and before you ask, you can still cast your spells as long as you still have all of the components covered. So, pretty much, you give 4 of your undead, component pouches or whatever, and boom, you can still use those bodies to cast the spells. Now, of course, Paizo has you covered on which hexes will do you best for this archetype, but I'm pretty fond of you making your own decisions. If you aren't sure, feel free to join our Discord and get help from your fellow Pathfinders. We all want what's best for you, as well as for you to spin your own level of epic badassery, and to show your friends, who will all drop their jaws and say, "How the heck did you make that build?" And you would have every right in saying you spoke with Professor Boombalatti, who helped you figure out how to be accidentally OP. You'll get it when you talk to him. Now, for my thoughts on this archetype, I like the Gravewalker. It's nice, compact, and gives you plenty of options. Keep in mind it's very front-loaded, so you won't have many options for hexes starting off. But once you've unlocked the starter kit, this witch will be your own, with different feats, hexes, weapons, and spells you have prepared, not to mention the most important part of making a witch, their relationship with their patron, and how they roll when it comes to their party. As per the usual, if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to subscribe. If you have any super badass moments of witchdom, let me know about it in the comments, and if you want to come and talk smack, or hang out, or play video games, come join the Discord. Finally, we've got a Patreon, so that's always helpful when you contribute, even just a cup of coffee. I love coffee. Anyways, you guys take it easy and keep gaming.